Welcome to the Good Ride, where it's not about my pride, it's just about how this Stranda Descender rides. I rode this with Union Atlas and Ride Deadbolts. Got this in a wide variety of conditions, everything from some good powder to some good groomers and a little bit of everything in between. A big thanks for Stranda to letting me borrow this for so long, to extensively test it and compare it to a lot of different boards, including the Jones Flagship, the Flagship Pro, and a few others. When it comes to sizing, Stranda wanted to send me a 161 instead of this 158, and that would have been perfect for me. But they only had a 158. I was willing to ride it, and I'm glad I did. Yes, it felt a little small. I wouldn't buy this size. I'd get the 161 for sure, but I got a really good taste of what this is like at a 158. Some things that'll make you want to swipe right on the Snowboard dating app. This is a sharp, quick turner, good grip, fast base, comfortable at speed, yet it's still good to have a fun turning experience if you don't want to just go straight. Some things that'll make you want to swipe left. It could use a little bit more setback on board in comparison to some freeride boards out there. When it comes to shape, this is tapered and directional, but not super tapered, not super directional. It has a more centered feel, as you can see by looking at the inserts. When it comes to camber, there's a good bit of camber and a little bit of early rise. It's a nice balance here. You can see the camber ends well before the nose begins, so you've got a little early rise there, and the camber ends a good bit before the tail. Comparing this to the 161 Jones Flagship, which is longer, there's less camber here than there is on the Stranda 158. So if it was 161 compared to 161, there'd be even more camber. Both of these boards have good appeal to intermediate and above riders, but they really shine for advanced to expert riders, especially the Stranda. When it comes to edge hold, there's a subtle disruption near the inserts. In harder snow, I thought this grabbed and held an edge incredibly well. I wouldn't call it an ice specialist, but it's definitely very competent to ride all day in hard snow that I call snow mint, where there's still a chance to get your edge in. It's not full-on bulletproof ice. Let's talk Stranda Descender Flex. This has that typical medium stiff flex that you'd expect for a freeride board. There's very good energy back. It pops very well. If you take it down here and press into the nose, you can see there's a lot of give throughout most of the nose, and it kind of stops where the side cut starts. In the tail, same thing, a lot of give back here. It stops right about here. And overall, you can see most of the give is happening in the tip and the tail, the very ends of it. This smaller 58 for me was okay to butter. Not amazing, but pretty good, and pretty easy to pop, generate my own air. If I was on the 61, it would be a little more work, but I think I would still really like it. When it comes to uneven snow, even though I was on a size too small, this handled soft and hard, uneven snow incredibly well for plowing through. It's not the best. I thought the Flagship was a little better than this, but it's close. And what I really liked is how competent and comfortable this felt on hard, uneven snow versus the Jones Flagship. That's where that got a little more cranky, but both are really competent, really good boards in all conditions these days. When it comes to pointing it, this is very damp, very stable. Great for those who like to straight line, but it's not just a straight liner. We'll get into that in a second. If you like to point it, this is a good choice. When it comes to base glide, Stranda just does base glide right. This just feels fast. It was up there with the Flagship Pro. It's up there with Gentum stick bases. I don't care what number it has after it, centered 4401. It just shows how specs can be so smoke and mirrors. People can get caught up on that, but in terms of glide on snow, this is exceptional. I wish it was all black. Like the Tree Surfer, that would be much better, but it's still pretty close, and I don't feel a single bit of this cut. So when it comes to turning, I was surprised at how quick it initiated a turn. Yes, I'm on a size too small, but even if I sized up a little bit, and it's incremental in the sizing from the 158 to 161, I think this would be a very fast turner. They want you to be able to make quick corrections because this is a big mountain board. So in tight spots or in tight tree lines, if you want to do this really quick, it gets you there. It responds immediately. Once you get it on edge though, it's not going to be the kind of turn that wants to circle carve. It's better than you would think for having this shallow of a side cut, but it's still not a circle carver. I still could have crossed the groomer carve okay, but what I found were like those medium radius carves to down the line carves were amazing. Everything from a straight line to medium radius carves, this thing just shines at. The spring out of the turn was excellent. I could front foot weight this and the tapered tail didn't want to wash. I could center and back foot weight turns and all really shined. I think it might like back foot weighted turns a touch more, but that's debatable. It was a really satisfying carver and I appreciated this more over the Flagship and Flagship Pro in same day tests. I thought this had more spring out of the turn and was a more dynamic, fun board to carve on. So when it comes to powder, this has pretty good directional float. It's not amazing. I like the Flagships a little better, but I like this better turning. I do like that you have 7x2 inserts per foot, so you get a little bit of a setback without having to have a full-size disc for setback inserts, for example, in comparison to the Flagships that have setback inserts. This stance width range is much more reasonable as well. And with a 22-inch stance width set all the way back with full-size discs, I could get 3.875 inches back from center of board. That's pretty good for a big mountain board and for a free ride board. It had very good directional float, but in same day comparisons to the Jones Flagship and Flagship Pro that have those setback inserts, they could get 4.75 inches back from center of board, but they were at a 22.75 inch stance width, which is just way too wide for most people. So if you have a stance like mine, you're probably gonna have a little better time on the Stranda. I will say though that the spoon nose tech in the Jones Flagships had a more fun turning experience, even though it doesn't really provide a lot of extra float. I would also say my United Shapes Cadet 158, which is the perfect size for me, had 5.5 inches back from center of board at a 22-inch stance width. That's a little more of a turny, a little less big mountain board, but it's a very versatile one board quiver like this is as well. So if you want more directional float for a more traditional big mountain freeride board, those might be better options, but as it stands now, this is great, especially if you're seeing a lot of steep angle terrain. This isn't really a board I'd want to ride in the park, but I was really surprised at how capable this is riding switch. So if you take off and land switch on some big jumps out in the backcountry or off-piste, this will do a great job. So overall, this Stranda Descender impressed the hell out of me. Fast-paced, loved the turning experience, loved the quick turn initiation, the edge hold. Everything about this board I thought was really well built and well designed, and I'm gonna be recommending this a shit ton. So there you have it.